right, well, we'd like to welcome everyone back to our podcast, New Homeowner 101. Now, in this episode, this is our part 2 of our series about shed construction and picking the right shed for your home. And that's what we're going to focus in on this episode. The last episode, we really focused in on why you should consider getting a shed for your home. In this episode, we're going to really talk about more picking the right shed for your home, and then how to prep your home for the shed, and a little bit about the construction of it. Okay, so you're thinking about buying a shed for your home. And if you're like us, new homeowners, we quickly figured out that we needed a shed. So obviously we went online and we did a lot of research, but
Yep. Asked family and friends.
Bingo. I think the best resource we had in the shed buying experience was Natalie's grandfather, because he really helped me to understand the differences between a lot of the sheds that are on the market.
Yeah, that's true. He did help with that.
Yeah. So here are just some of the sheds that you could potentially buy. There are wood sheds.
Yep.
There are metal sheds. There are plastic resin sheds. There are prefab sheds, and then there are custom built sheds. So let's talk a little bit about just the most popular. And really the most popular three are wood sheds, metal sheds, and plastic resin sheds. So Natalie, maybe you can help our listeners walk us through. We looked at wood sheds, but why did we not go with wood sheds?
Well, for a few reasons. One of them was that they can rot, which we don't want that to happen. They can get termites, which is so true. Pests are more attracted to them.
Yep.
Water damage, because if it's not sealed properly, you can have the water damage.
Yeah.
And then also their lifespan. So they have their end of life comes a lot sooner than the other types.
That's right.
A lot of maintenance.
Yeah, a lot of maintenance. And remember, with the water damage, I mean, you're looking at potential water damage coming from the roof, because oftentimes those roofs are just typical asphalt shingle roofs, just like a home. So they can spring leaks, just like a home roof can spring leaks.
Yeah.
So you have water damage from the top. Also, you have water damage coming up from the bottom. And you have water damage possibly coming from the sides if, there's a leak in the window.
Right. And then the water gets inside the shed and then damages your stuff.
Exactly.
Not good.
Or you have the rot, and you might have mold, and you don't want mold in your shed. I've been in some moldy sheds, and it's gross. You walk in, and it's got this smell of mold, and then that gets into whatever you've stored in the shed.
Right, exactly.
And that could potentially ruin the stuff in your shed.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about metal sheds. Okay, so after we were somewhat deterred from getting a wood shed, then I was really thinking about, okay, maybe a metal shed. It's not wood. However, we came to learn that there are some things to think about with metal sheds. First of all, good thing, they do last longer than a wooden shed.
Right.
But water does affect them too, and so metal sheds rust. And so there's a lot of rust that happens with metal sheds.
Yeah.
And I think from what I read, they really only last 20 to 25 years. So after that, you can't fix it. You can't repair it.
Right.
You've got to just junk it.
Then it doesn't look nice too as it rusts either.
When it rusts, it doesn't look good. And I'm sure then it's decaying and more water's getting inside. So. And then here's an interesting thing. With metal sheds, the assembly of the metal shed is very intensive because there are so many pieces of hardware that are involved with putting the metal shed together that we heard from others that it could take you up to like 4 to 6 hours to put the metal shed together. Okay, so that brought us to the plastic resin shed. So Natalie, why did we go with that one?
Yeah, we went with that one for all of the reasons we didn't go with the other ones. And that was because they don't rot because there is no wood. Their pests aren't attracted to them. It does last the longest out of the three, and it's very easy to assemble. And I will say, I found that when we've been like to different stores, it is the more popular one that you see. There's a little bit more of them to choose from,
Yeah.
size-wise too, and style, and the look of them is really nice. They have a lot of different looks too to them as well.
That's true. And I will say too that I kind of didn't really think much of them, but then my dad got one. I remember.
Oh, that's right.
My dad got one, and he put it together, and that kind of surprised me. But also, I mean, it looked great, and he did a really nice job putting it together, and it looked very durable, and I actually really like the look of it, the feel of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the one we went with. Now, they can be a little bit more expensive,
right?
But when you're looking at all of the pros,
yeah, maintenance-wise, there is a lot less to do.
Yeah. Okay, so now, once you decide which shed you want, here are some things that you may need to keep in mind. Now, we had to learn a little bit about sheds too. There are different types of roofs on the shed. Not different types, but there are different designs. So you need to determine where do you want to put the shed. For instance, some sheds have a typical like A-frame, type of roof design, while others have just a one-directional slant. Now, you don't want that slanting towards your house,
right?
Because then all the water is going to be running off of your shed's roof and then running right towards your house.
Yeah,
that's not good. So you need to know a little bit about where you're going to place your shed, and then you need to pick a design where the roof is going to work with your home.
Right.
It's going to direct the water away from your house and not towards it. There's different flooring materials.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so some sheds come with a floor. Other sheds do not come with a floor.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to consider as well. Oftentimes the metal and sometimes the wood sheds don't come with a floor.
Right.
So you have to build the floor yourself. That actually was another reason why we went with the resin.
Right, we did.
Because it came with a floor.
Yep.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, which is Inside Out Express Home Services. So if you live in the Piedmont Triad area, which is Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, we want to recommend Inside Out. Inside Out has over 40 different handyman and cleaning services that you can find on their website, which is insideoutexpress.com. You can browse through their selection of services, and what's really unique about Inside Out is that you can get a quote online on their website. All you need to do is just put in the information about your home and about the services you need, and they give you an instant quote. If you like the price, just go ahead and book it. Book it right there. You pick the day and time that you'd like their service providers to come and do the work. It's super easy. Go ahead and try it on InsideOutExpress.com. Okay, so you have to consider all of those things. Now, and then there's also color.
Yeah, you want it to complement your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be ugly or detract from your home, or not even really go with it at all. But now, once you get to the point of deciding where you want to put the shed, what shed are you going to buy, now there's some overall, I guess, municipal things that you need to consider. Maybe, Natalie, you can tell us, what should you consider holistically with the municipality?
Sure. Well, you want to check your local codes and permits. Sometimes, depending on, I guess, may not apply so much to a backyard, but if you're going to put it in the front or in a place that's closer to the road, you have different property line setbacks. That can apply, I guess, to even the backside, depending on how your property is shaped and what is near it.
Yeah, and depending also on the municipality.
Right. And then also sometimes they have a limit on the maximum size of a shed that you can put on your property, like whether you're just doing a one-story shed or a two-story shed, or how high is it going to be, how big, things like that. And then we don't live in a neighborhood where we have an HOA, but you have if you do, you have to consider those rules too before you put it up.
That's another thing to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fortunately for us, in our municipality, any shed below 150 square feet pretty much doesn't need a permit, doesn't even really apply to the building setback.
Mm-hmm.
And like Natalie said, we don't have an HOA.
Yeah.
So really, we could put our shed anywhere on our property.
Well, we check those things first, just to be sure.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, we mentioned this before, but let's reiterate this now. The next thing you need to do, which we had to do, is choose the location. Here's some other things to consider. Is you want to make sure to choose a location where the shed is on flat ground, it's dry, there's plenty of drainage around the shed, and the drainage is not going to be going towards the shed.
Right.
Or if you need to dig down a little bit, you're not going to create a drainage bowl of any kind where now your shed is sitting in water. Another thing is utilities. So you want to make sure that you're not going to be placing your shed in front of your electric meter or your or in front of your internet access point. So those things you need to consider. You shouldn't just put the shed wherever you want, but you have to make sure that it flows with all of the utilities with your home and that you can access it easily.
Yeah, and I also thought too sunlight, because with the plastic resin one, it could fade it. So depending on the color on it, so that wears on it. So if it's ours is in a location where it doesn't get the sun all the time, but that is something to consider. I feel like.
Very, very good point. Now, let's talk a little bit about site preparation. You've determined your location. Now, if obviously, as we mentioned before, if you have to build the floor of your shed, a little foundation and floor, then you're going to need to clear the vegetation and put some sort of base down. And the same applies to the plastic and resin shed. Even though it comes with a floor, you can't just put it on the grass. You have to clear the vegetation. And what we used leveling sand. So we used leveling sand to create a nice level platform for the shed. Others choose to put down pavers, which is another good option also. And again, these aren't expensive options. So don't worry like, oh my goodness, I've got to build this. It's not expensive. It's really not. And it's pretty easy to do. So clearing the area, use leveling sand to level it out, and lay that base. That's what you'll need to do first before you start building your shed. Now, also, when you start building your shed, you're going to need to consider safety. So what are some things that our listeners might need safety-wise, Natalie?
Yeah, well, first, just a few things. You'll want eye protection, so some safety glasses, gloves to protect your hands, because you may need to do things that move things around, and you don't want to cut your hands or anything like that. Wearing good shoes. You may need a mask depending on what you're doing. Just all depends. And then also to think about the weather for that day, depending on what time of year that you're installing it. You know, you wouldn't want to start it halfway and then you have it rain on you the next day. Or if you're in the middle of it rain, or it's too hot, or different things like that. So choosing to be safe in those ways, can be really helpful. And maybe even doing it with another person, so you're not doing it by yourself.
Yeah, doing it with another person definitely helps. I know even with the resin sheds, it was easy for the most part. It was pretty much a one-man job, but honestly, putting the roof on was the hardest part, where it was really more like I needed a second person, but I managed. But in retrospect, I probably could have used a second pair of hands on that. Okay, so we hope that you've really benefited from our consideration of sheds. And to help you out, what we've done is we've put together a checklist which combines a lot of the things we talked about in our previous episode about things to consider as far as why do you why you might need a shed,
Mm-hmm.
and then also things that you could use or store in your shed. And then also a checklist with a lot of the things we discussed as far as what you might need to do with when picking a shed,
Mm-hmm.
and what you might need to help prep your backyard for a shed. So go ahead and click the link below and request our checklist about installing and building your shed. So we call it our shed checklist, shed installation checklist. Check that out. We really hope that it helps you in your, in your process of picking a shed and building a shed. And we know we're just learning. And if you see anything that we might need to consider also, please go ahead and put a comment in the comments below. Let us know what you think, what you've encountered. And we really hope that you've learned a little bit from our journey. And we really appreciate you checking out our podcast. So,
yeah.
With that, then, we'd like to thank you for joining this week, and check out our next episode. And we look forward to hearing from you. And we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, take care.